بكم ومن يتق الله يكفر عنه سيئاته ويعظم له أجرا.
ومن يتق الله, whoever is able to have taqwa, consciousness of Allah Azza wa Jal, yukaffir anhu sayyi'atihi, his sins and his mistakes shall be washed from him. Allah will forgive you when you fear Allah Azza wa Jal. Wa yu'zim lahu ajra, and Allah will make your reward great and great. So it means that Rasulullah didn't explain to you that when he tells you that when you fast in the month of Ramadan, Allah is going to forgive you. And remember very well, even when he was telling you, he told you that Man sama Ramadanan Imanan, there is a condition over there. Wahtisaban, there is a condition over there. We don't look at the condition at all. We just get up and we think in the month of Ramadan we are going to get what? Reward, forgiveness of Allah, forgiveness of no. Unless you develop taqwa in the month of Ramadan. And to develop taqwa, Allah Azza wa Jal says that the route to taqwa is for you to take control of your soul. Learn how to control your soul in the month of Ramadan, so that the power, the skills and the competence that you use to control your soul in the month of Ramadan, even after the month of Ramadan, it will become easier for you. On this note, Allah Azza wa Jalla, Quran chapter 53 verse 32, he tells you that الَّذِينَ يَجْتَنِبُونَ كَبَائِرَ
الْإِثْمِ وَالْفَوَاحِشَ إِلَّا اللَّمَمَ إِنَّ رَبَّكَ وَاسِعُ الْمَغْفِرَةِ هُوَ أَعْلَمُ بِكُمْ إِذْ أَنشَأَكُم مِّنَ الْأَرْضِ وَإِذْ أَنتُمْ أَجِنَّةٌ في بطون أمهاتكم فلا تزكوا أنفسكم هو أعلم بمن اتقى.
Allah Azza wa Jalla said, those of you who avoid the major sins, that's the beginning of Tazkiyah. You struggle to ensure that you avoid all the major sins, even the small ones, you struggle with them. So الَّذِينَ يَجْتَنِبُونَ كَبَائِرَ الْإِثْمِ, the bigger sins, you are off them. Fornication, you are not part of it. None of the shirk that you are part of it, you are not part of it. All the bigger sins, you are not part of it. وَالْفَوَاحِشَ إِلَّا اللَّمَمْ, and then also immorality. Any kind of immorality, you are not part of it. You are not part of those who dance on TikTok. You are not part of those who expose themselves on TikTok. All the immoralities, you are not part of it. From time to time, you fall, you make mistakes, those small things, illa lamam. And Allah Azza wa Jalla telling you that inna rabbaka, understand that your Lord wasi'ul maghfirah, his forgiveness is so great and wide. Wa a'lamu bikum, and he knows you very well. He knows the way he created you. He knows that فَعَلَامَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا, he gave that one to you. And he knows that you are da'if, you are weak. He knows you very well. So he says that هُوَ أَعْلَمُ بِكُمْ إِذْ أَنْشَأَكُمْ مِنَ الْأَرْضِ. Allah Azza wa Jal, he knew you very well because he designed you from what? The earth. وَإِذْ أَنْتُمْ, and then when you were small as fetus in the womb of what? Your mom, Allah knew you and he monitored your development over there. وَإِذْ أَنْتُمْ أَجِنَّةٌ فِي بُطُونِ أُمَّهَاتِكُمْ, Allah knew all these things. Then he's warning you, فَلَا تُزَكُّوا أَنفُسَكُمْ, don't claim of self-purification because of your tahajjud, because of your tilawah, because of your zikr, because of the sadaqah that you have been doing. You claim and you think that you are so pure. Allah says, فَلَا تُزَكُّوا أَنفُسَكُمْ, don't claim of what? Purity. هُوَ أَعْلَمُ بِمَنِ اتَّقَى, Allah Azza wa Jal knows who is pious among you. Allah is warning you about one thing and is telling you about another thing. Don't claim of purity because Allah knows much, who is much pure and pious among you. So it means that self-purification is a route toward piety. Tazkiyah is a route toward taqwa. So if you have Tazkiyah, if you embark on Tazkiyah, you struggle to purify your soul, just like the way you struggle to purify your mind, you struggle to develop your mind. When you develop the soul too, you realize that Allah will give you stability in the heart, and He will give you taqwa in your heart. So I always say that human being, you are 3 multiplied by 3. You have your physical aspect, your body, and then you have what? Intellectual aspect, your mind, your cognitive what? System, and then you have your spiritual aspect, the emotional system, your spiritual aspect. You can't train one and leave the two, and you can't train the two and leave the one. You have to train all of them. So these 3 things will need 3 things each to develop. Number 1, the brain will need what? Knowledge to develop. The spiritual center, the heart, will need what? Emotions and feelings to develop. You need to do good deeds to ignite feelings for the heart and the soul to develop. And the body will also need food to develop. And all these needs will come in 3 what? Dimensions. The brain will need knowledge to come in the form of visual, to come in the form of auditory, to come in the form of what? Kinesthetic. And then also the body will need food to come in the form of what? Carbohydrates, to come in the form of proteins, to come in the form of what? Vitamins. The same way the soul will need food to come, which is rituals. The highest of all the rituals, and the content and the real active ingredient of all the rituals is what we call dhikrullah. Even the salah, aqimis salata li dhikri, and all the other things that we do, if there is no dhikrullah in it, Allah will not accept it. Anything that you do that Allah is not part, it is not for the sake of Allah. If it is for the sake of Allah, you remember Allah in it. And for that matter, nothing can be done without what? Dhikrullah. That dhikrullah also comes in 3 forms. Number 1 is what we call tahleel, the highest of all. Tahleel, la ilaha illallah, and all it accompanying what? Azkar. That is where Allah is the center of the distance. The main thing that zikr is revolving around is what? Allah Azza wa Jal, direct tahleel. The second one is what? Salawat. You do pray and request blessings for our Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam, so that you model our Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. You are asking for blessings from Allah Azza wa Jal to our Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam, so that you nurture the love, you nurture the consciousness of modeling our Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam for the sake of what? Allah Azza wa Jal, but not to keep on reciting salawat and your physical appearance doesn't even look like our Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Your rituals, they don't look like our Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Your emotional makeup doesn't look like our Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Your intellectual makeup doesn't look like our Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So each of the salawat is supposed to help you, take you through introspection, for you to see the distance between you and our Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Then the third food of the soul, your spiritual dimension, is also istighfar, which we want you to develop in this month of Ramadan, a key tool to be able to control your soul. So my dear brothers and my dear sisters, if I've been able to put something in your mind, that is to tell you that human being, we have 3 dimensions. And the real dimension that represents you in front of Allah Azza wa Jal is your spiritual dimension, your nafs. And that is the dimension that has been relegated down and forgotten. You are currently busy in training one dimension of yours. That is, academically, you are training your brain. And you are currently busy eating to train and develop another dimension of yours. That is your physical dimension. One of your spiritual dimensions. Let's use Ramadan as an opportunity to be able to train the soul You first of all need to know the developmental stages of the soul, just like the way you learn from Jean Piaget, Erik Erikson, Milton Erickson, the different developmental stages of what? The brain and the mind, and the psychosocial developmental stages of what? Erik Erikson. You've learned all these things. That is to tell you that human being, we have different dimensions, and they also develop from one level to the other level.